If you scan a subarctic coastline at dawn, the first thing you notice is the sound: floes creaking, gulls bickering, wind scraping ice. Then a shadow pours across the water, huge, blocky wings, bright white shoulder patches, and a traffic cone yellow beak as thick as your wrist. That's the Steller sea eagle, the heavyweight champion of eagles. Part bird, part bulldozer, wholly unbothered by bad weather. Quick reality check. Heaviest isn't about wingspan bragging rights, it's about mass and muscle. Stellers typically span around 2.1 to 2.5 meters, but the claim to fame is scale on the scale. Females can top 8 or 9 kilograms, with a chest like a small anvil, and legs that look engineered, not grown. Compare that to other giants, harpies and Philippine eagles are rivals, but few birds pack this much power, insulation, and sheer hardware into a flying package that still lifts off gracefully. The blueprint explains the attitude. Long, broad wings for efficient, cold-dense air, a deep keel for big pectoral engines, and that absurd lemon-yellow bill, deep, hooked, and corrugated, purpose-built to grip slick fish and to lever open frozen things that don't want to be breakfast. The black-brown body is panel-lined with white. Tail, shoulders, leg feathers. In poor light, the bird looks like dipped in ink. In sun, it flashes like a tuxedo with epaulets. Diet reads like a seafood menu with a waterfowl special. Prime target: salmon, chum, pink, coho, plus trout, cod, and flatfish when the rivers calm down. In winter, Stellers patrol sea ice and estuaries for anything with fins or feathers. Eider ducks, scoters, gulls, even carrion stranded on the floes. Technique toggles between piracy and precision. Sometimes they klepto-raid other birds mid-air. Sometimes they hang on a glide, toes open, and simply pluck a fish as if picking an apple. When the ice locks rivers tight, they pivot to leads and tidal edges where currents keep water breathing and fish close to the surface. Range draws a cold U around the northwest Pacific. The Russian Far East, Kamchatka, the Lower Amur, the Shantar Islands, the Sea of Okhotsk coasts, and seasonal pilgrimages to Hokkaido, where river mouths run black with salmon and the drift ice turns the sea into a white parking lot. They nest in big riparian trees or on cliff ledges, always near deep water because the grocery aisle is wet. Think of them as river delta landlords with ocean views. Behavior has two gears: monastic patience and sudden force. A Stellers will sit a snag for an hour, reading eddies like lines of poetry. Then, with a shrug and two strokes, it becomes kinetic law. The feet are the star. Thick, scaly tarsi, tractor tread pads, talons like polished ice hooks. Grip a fish, rotate it head forward for aerodynamics, and you're airborne with a thrashing kilogram of silver arguing in the slipstream. A pair will sometimes double-team a channel, one flushes, one intercepts, then build a chaotic cloud of gulls they ignore completely while they eat. Let's myth bust while we're here. Do Steller sea eagles only eat fish? No. Waterfowl, hares, fox carrion, and seal scraps are all fair game. Do they dwarf all other eagles? Not by every yardstick. Wingspans can be similar to the white-tailed or golden eagle. Are they rare celebrities you'll never see? They're scarce globally, but in the right winter spots, icy Hokkaido harbors, salmon rivers, they're unmistakably present, looming like monochrome statues that suddenly decide to move. Nesting is architecture with commitment. Massive stick platforms accumulate for years, layered with spruce boughs and seaweed. Clutches are usually 1 or 2 eggs. In lean seasons, productivity drops because fish runs and weather set the budget. Incubation runs just over a month. Chicks take many weeks to fledge. Post-fledging guidance continues until the next season because flying heavy machinery in crosswinds is not a day-one skill. Territory defense is assertive but pragmatic. Loud vocal challenges, towering flybys, and, if needed, a shove off the perch for neighbors with poor boundaries.
If you like engineering, their flight is a masterclass in energy accounting. Cold air is dense air, good lift, but winter thermals are weak. Stellers tune their glide ratios to river winds, ridge lift, and the low, steady thrust that big wings and big chests afford. The tail is a steering oar. The primary fingers manage stall at low speed. The huge bill doesn't just tear, it counterbalances during tight banking, keeping the head stable as the body rolls. Nothing is wasted. Each feather edge is a tool. The conservation ledger is honest. This champion is vulnerable. The official status trends toward threatened because the bird's life is a chain of dependencies, and we keep rattling the links. Overfishing sands down salmon runs. Dams and culverts garble migration queues. Winter sea ice retreats, rearranging where carcasses collect and how birds hunt. Lead fragments in gut piles poison scavengers. Power lines slice across flight corridors like invisible snares. Storms get funkier. Floods hit nests. Heat waves push fish deeper and stretch foraging flights. The fixes aren't speculative, they're practical. Replace lead shot and bullets with non-lead alternatives so gut piles stop being toxic buffets. Mark or bury high-risk power lines near roosts and river crossings. Keep riparian old-growth upright so the birds have anchor trees and windbreaks. Safeguard salmon spawning habitat. Spawning beds are eagle nurseries with scales. Coordinate fishing closures during peak runs in core territories so eagles don't switch to riskier scavenging just when chicks are hungry and weather windows are brief. Culturally, Stellers are already icons, featured in stamps, field guides, and the memories of every winter photographer who has ever had their lens fog while the white-shouldered giant crash lands on sea ice. That visibility is leverage. Tourism, done with sane buffers, funds local buy-in. School programs that trace salmon from headwater to harbor make the bird less myth, more neighbor. Fisher cooperatives that measure escapement and brag about eagle-safe rivers turn conservation into a badge, not a scold. What sets the species apart is the vibe. Seriousness without theatrics. Golden eagles feel like athletes. Harpies feel like ambush sculptors. Steller sea eagles feel like harbor masters, watching, weighing, then issuing permits to physics. They don't pop off the page with speed, they dominate with presence. You feel them before you fully see them, the way other birds defer, the way your eye climbs that billboard of a beak and realizes it's attached to something that belongs to weather. And yes, they can be wonderfully petty. Kleptoparasitism, stealing, is an art form. Harassing a gull until it drops a fish, shadowing an otter for leftovers, muscling a white-tailed eagle off a prime perch. Dominance games aren't cruelty, they're budgeting. When water is bone cold and the clock is short, every calorie is an investment decision. Stand on a Hokkaido riverbank at first light. The tide exhales, the ice shifts, and steam ghosts the boulders. A dark form lifts from a poplar, shoulders flashing white as it turns. Downstream, a salmon rolls, silver on black water. The eagle folds, drops, opens, and the world briefly narrows to yellow, black, white, and the splash. No narration, no drum solo, just an apex bird executing a simple plan in an unforgiving place. Not always the longest wings, not the only heavyweight, but as a synthesis of mass, cold weather design, ruthless pragmatism, and river sense, the Steller sea eagle is the Northwest Pacific's most persuasive argument that wild systems still remember how to run. Give it fish, ice, tall trees, and clean wires, and it will turn winter into opportunity. Strip those away, and you'll learn how quickly silence occupies a valley. Keep the rivers honest, and the champion keeps flying. Lose the runs, and the coast goes quiet faster than anyone expects.